Social media tells us a story. A young couple smiling. A new mother glowing with pride. Celebrations, laughter, promises of forever. But sometimes what we see online is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion, hiding a darkness that no one could predict. This is the story of Deja Jenkins-Minus, 22 years old, a recent high school graduate, a brand new mother to a 2-month-old baby girl. And on Thanksgiving Day 2021, she became the victim of one of the most brutal crimes Massachusetts had seen that year.
A grieving family is asking for the public's help tonight in finding the killer of 22-year-old Deja Jenkins-Minus. Police haven't said anything about a suspect in this case since her body was discovered on Friday. WBZ's Tiffany Chan spoke with the victim's mother tonight.
The Jenkins-Minus family has no idea why someone would want to kill this 22-year-old woman the day after Thanksgiving. And with it happening so close to the holidays, the pain is just unbearable.
I'm more mad that they won't come forward.
A mother's tearful plea for justice just days after 22-year-old Deja Jenkins-Minus was found brutally murdered in Lowell.
I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what, but I knew something was wrong.
It was Latoya Minus' motherly instinct that led Lowell police to this home where her body was found Friday morning.
And they told me that my daughter, that she was stabbed.
Did they say by who?
No, I don't know yet.
The Middlesex District Attorney's Office is investigating, but tell us the killing doesn't appear to be random. While Minus has an idea of who might be responsible, she can't fathom why someone would want to kill this young mother, who, telling by this candlelight vigil, was so deeply loved.
She's very outgoing. She's loving. She's a very uplifting young lady.
Minus is now desperate for answers and has this message for her daughter's killer.
They just need to turn themselves in. I'm lost. I'm hurt. I'm numb. I'm angry. And I want justice for my baby and my grandbaby.
Welcome back to Crime Lab Report. I'm your host, and today we're examining a case that shook Boston to its core. A case where love turned lethal, where jealousy became deadly, and where a holiday meant for gratitude became a day of unspeakable tragedy. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this is a real case involving real people and real loss. We tell these stories not for shock value, but to understand, to learn, and to remember the victims whose lives were stolen far too soon. Let's go back to where it all began. Boston, Massachusetts, a city of nearly 700,000 residents, known for its rich history, prestigious universities, and passionate sports culture. Just northwest of Boston sits Lowell, a smaller city of about 100,000 people with its own unique character, built on the foundation of 19th-century textile mills. This is where Deja Jenkins-Minus called home. Born on February 15, 1999, Deja was everything you'd want in a daughter, a friend, a partner. Those who knew her described her as outgoing, loving, and genuinely uplifting. She had this natural ability to light up a room just by walking into it. Her social media painted the picture of someone who embraced life fully, someone who smiled easily and cared deeply about the people around her. She'd worked hard in school, graduating with academic honors, and was focused on building her future through college. But more than her academic achievements, Deja was known for her close relationship with her family, especially her mother, Latoya. They weren't just mother and daughter, they were best friends. Latoya would later describe her daughter this way: "She's very outgoing. She's loving. She's a very uplifting young lady." But like many young women in their early 20s, Deja was also navigating the complicated world of relationships. Enter Leonard Robinson, 22 years old, same age as Deja. He went by the rap name Poleboy D. Rose and was trying to make a name for himself in Boston's hip-hop scene. On the surface, they seemed like any other young couple, posting pictures together, showing affection, appearing happy when they were together. But their relationship was far from stable. Friends and family knew that Deja and Leonard were in an on-again, off-again dynamic. One week they'd be all over each other on social media. The next, there'd be silence. Then they'd be back together again. It was a cycle that many people recognized as unhealthy, but Deja, like so many others caught in these patterns, seemed to believe that things would get better. The relationship took a significant turn in 2021 when Deja discovered she was pregnant. For Deja, this news was pure joy. She documented her pregnancy journey online, sharing her excitement with friends and followers. You could see in every photo and video how much she was looking forward to becoming a mother. Her family rallied around her, ready to support her through this new chapter. On September 20th, 2021, Deja gave birth to a baby girl she named Delaney. The internet, once again, filled with images of a beaming new mother holding her daughter. Deja's family was thrilled, surrounding both mother and baby with love and support. But there was someone noticeably absent from many of these celebrations: Leonard Robinson, the baby's father. While Deja was posting happy photos with baby Delaney, Leonard was harboring dark suspicions. In the fall of 2021, he took to Facebook with a post that would send shockwaves through their circle. Leonard publicly claimed that he wasn't sure Delaney was his child. He accused Deja of infidelity and demanded a paternity test. Think about that for a moment. Instead of having a private conversation with the mother of his child, Leonard chose to air these accusations publicly on social media. The language he used to describe Deja was disrespectful and demeaning. These are the kinds of red flags that, in hindsight, reveal so much about a person's character. Deja responded to these accusations, also on Facebook. She firmly stated that Delaney was 100% Leonard's daughter. But the damage was done. What should have been a private matter between two parents had become a public spectacle, and the tension between them was escalating. This brings us to November 24th, 2021. The day before Thanksgiving, Deja made what would be her final Facebook post. In it, she expressed her joy about celebrating her daughter's first Thanksgiving. She wrote about how her daughter would never need for anything. It was a message full of hope, full of love, full of the kind of maternal devotion that should have been the beginning of a beautiful story. That evening, Deja visited her family in Boston with baby Delaney. Leonard didn't come with them. By this point, the social media feud had made things incredibly awkward, and the couple was clearly at odds. But Deja's family was happy to see her and the baby, looking forward to the Thanksgiving celebration they had planned for the next day. The morning of November 25th, Thanksgiving Day, Deja left her family's home in Boston and drove to Lowell with Delaney. She went to Leonard's apartment. Neighbors would later report seeing her arrive in the early morning hours, around 3 a.m., carrying her baby and a bag of diapers. Deja had promised her family she would return to Boston that evening for Thanksgiving dinner. Her mother, Latoya, had prepared a big meal. Everyone was excited. It was going to be Delaney's first Thanksgiving, a milestone the whole family wanted to celebrate together. But as the afternoon turned to evening, Deja didn't show up. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Text messages went unanswered. This wasn't like Deja at all. She was always in contact with her family, especially her mother. And even if something had come up, she would never just disappear without letting anyone know, especially not with a 2-month-old baby. Latoya knew immediately that something was wrong. Call it mother's intuition, call it the bond between a parent and child, but she knew in her gut that her daughter was in danger. The family tried desperately to reach Deja throughout the evening. Every call went to voicemail. Every message was left unread. The worry turned to panic. Where was Deja? Where was baby Delaney? A 2-month-old baby needs constant care. If Deja was in trouble, Delaney could be in serious danger too. Finally, the family used the Find My iPhone feature to track Deja's location. The phone was pinging from Leonard's apartment in Lowell. Latoya didn't wait. She didn't call the police at this point. She got in her car and drove straight to Lowell, straight to Leonard's address. But when she arrived, something was off. All the doors were locked. The house was completely dark. No one appeared to be home. Latoya knocked. She called out. Nothing. She began asking neighbors if they'd seen anything. That's when she learned that yes, they had seen Deja arrive early that morning with her baby and supplies. But no one had seen her leave. Deja's car was gone, but Deja hadn't been seen leaving the property. Latoya stayed there all night. She kept watching the house, hoping to see some sign of life, some indication that her daughter and granddaughter were okay. She checked her phone constantly, praying for Deja's location to change, for some sign that she was safe. But the phone stayed in the same location, and the house remained dark and silent. As the sun began to rise on Friday, November 26th, Latoya made the call she'd been dreading. She dialed 911 and requested a welfare check at Leonard's home. Police were dispatched to the address. But before they could gain entry, one of Leonard's relatives arrived at the scene. Finding a window open, the relative climbed through and entered the house. He made his way to a bedroom and found the door locked from the inside. He kicked the door open. What he found inside would haunt everyone who heard about it. On the floor, next to an air mattress, lay the body of Deja Jenkins-Minus in a pool of blood. The scene was horrific. Blood was splattered across the bedroom walls. There was blood in the kitchen. The violence that had occurred in that apartment was beyond comprehension. When the medical examiner arrived and began documenting the scene, the full extent of the brutality became clear. Deja had been stabbed over 58 times. 58 times. She had defensive wounds on her hands and arms, evidence that she had fought desperately for her life. Her neck had been fractured. The weapon used appeared to be a sharp object, wielded with rage and murderous intent. Deja hadn't died quickly or easily. She had fought. She had struggled. She had tried to survive. And in those final moments, she must have been thinking about her baby daughter, just 2 months old, somewhere in that apartment. The investigation moved quickly. Police initially had few leads, but the evidence pointed in one clear direction. This wasn't a random attack. This wasn't a burglary gone wrong. Deja was killed by someone who had access to that locked bedroom. Someone who had reason to be in that apartment. Someone with a motive rooted in jealousy and rage. On the afternoon of November 26th, while police were still processing the crime scene, baby Delaney appeared at Deja's family home in Boston. Somehow, someone had brought her there. She was unharmed, with just a small spot of what appeared to be her mother's blood on her clothing. The family had no idea how she'd gotten there, but they were relieved beyond measure that she was safe. 2 days after the murder, on November 28th, police had gathered enough evidence to make an arrest. They tracked Leonard Robinson to another residence in the area and took him into custody. The arrest was captured on video. Leonard appeared calm, almost detached, as officers placed him in handcuffs. There was no visible emotion, no resistance, no reaction at all to what was happening. When the news broke that Leonard had been arrested for Deja's murder, the community was devastated but not entirely surprised. Those closest to Deja had seen the warning signs: the volatile relationship, the public accusations, the jealousy, the instability. LaToya, who had spent that terrible night searching for her daughter, who had found the strength to call 911, who had held baby Delaney in her arms knowing that her daughter would never hold her again, now had to face the reality that the man who killed Deja was the father of her grandchild. Leonard was charged with murder and held without bail. At his arraignment, prosecutors laid out the evidence. Deja was found in Leonard's locked bedroom. She had been stabbed 58 times. Her neck was fractured. The violence was extreme and personal, the kind of attack that speaks to rage and loss of control. Leonard stood in court expressionless, showing no emotion as the details of his alleged crime were read aloud. LaToya was in the courtroom too, watching the man accused of killing her daughter, trying to comprehend how someone could do something so unspeakable.
What we have in this situation, Your Honor, is that Deja is found in the house that he was living in alone, in his bedroom, which was locked when any witness or the police came to that location. What the medical examiner's office noted was that Deja's neck was fractured, that she had over 58 stab wounds to her body by a sharp object. Further investigation revealed that there had been social media posts by the defendant questioning whether he was the father of the child, questioning whether he should have a DNA test, and also stating that he was mad at Deja, and I would suggest providing motive. Her mother then and other family members then stayed up all night on Thanksgiving, looking to see if they could monitor the phone, Deja's phone, as to where it might possibly be located.
Here's what made the case even more disturbing. Leonard was already on probation at the time of Deja's murder. He'd been released on bail following 2 separate gun charges. As a condition of his release, he'd been ordered to wear a GPS ankle monitor and observe a curfew from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. every night. That GPS data became crucial evidence. It showed that Leonard was inside his apartment until 2 a.m. on the day after Thanksgiving, hours after Deja had already been killed. Then he traveled to various locations around Lowell. And just before 5 p.m., he cut off his ankle monitor, attempting to evade tracking. But it was too late. Police were already closing in, and Leonard was arrested shortly after. Despite overwhelming evidence, Leonard pleaded not guilty to the murder charges. He even requested to be moved from the Middlesex House of Correction, claiming he was in danger there. The court denied his request, and he remained held without bail. In the days following the arrest, the community came together to honor Deja's memory. Dozens of people gathered for a candlelight vigil outside her family's home in Mattapan. Friends, neighbors, even strangers who were moved by her story came to light candles, to comfort Latoya, to remember a young woman whose life was cut brutally short. The vigil was emotional. Hugs turned into sobs as people tried to process the senseless tragedy. Deja had just graduated high school. She'd just had her baby. It was just Thanksgiving. The timing made it all feel even more cruel. Deja's friends didn't want her remembered only as a victim of violence. They wanted people to know who she really was, a goal-driven, hardworking young mother who would have done anything for her family and her child. The world lost someone special when Deja died, and her friends and family wanted to make sure that her life, not just her death, was what people remembered. As of the latest reports, Leonard Robinson was awaiting trial for the murder of Deja Jenkins-Minus. The case continues to work its way through the justice system, with Deja's family still seeking the closure and justice they deserve. For Latoya, the pain of losing her daughter in such a horrific way is something she may never fully recover from. And for baby Delaney, who will grow up without her mother, the tragedy is almost too heartbreaking to contemplate. She'll have to live with the knowledge of how her mother died and who was responsible for taking her away. This case serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that can hide behind the facade of love. Leonard Robinson had a history of violence and criminal behavior. There were red flags, the instability, the public accusations, the jealousy, the legal troubles. But Deja, like so many people who find themselves in toxic relationships, believed in the good she saw in him. She believed things could get better. Domestic violence doesn't always announce itself clearly. It can be gradual, escalating over time until it reaches a point of no return. The warning signs are often there, but they're not always recognized until it's too late. If you or someone you know is in a relationship that feels unsafe, that involves controlling behavior, public humiliation, accusations, or any form of violence, please reach out for help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-799-7233. Your safety matters. Your life matters. Deja's story didn't have to end this way. A young mother with her whole life ahead of her, with a baby daughter who needed her, with a family who loved her deeply. She deserved so much better. She deserved to watch Delaney grow up. She deserved to celebrate many more Thanksgivings. She deserved to live. This is Crime Lab Report, reminding you to stay safe, stay aware, and never ignore the warning signs. If something feels wrong in a relationship, trust your instincts. And if you see someone you care about in a dangerous situation, speak up. It could save a life. Thank you for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime coverage. Until next time, stay safe out there.
Give Mom a kiss. Give Mom another kiss. That's you, Mama? Say it's my mama. That's your mama? Say my mama.